Hey, what's up, good people? It's your boy Eric Taylor, Taylored2U Astrology. We are here for episode 86, Knowledge is Love, with my amazing guest returning for the third time. Third time's a charm. And yes, she's the Venus gemstone. Venus is in Libra. And I am bringing in Miss Anjani Siegrist from Awake in the Dream School. Yeah, you better go subscribe to her YouTube channel. And she's a legend on Instagram, Venus Gemstone. And tonight we're talking about Venus in Libra and un poquito more, all this wild energy. All right, so let's bring her in. Let's hope the screen share is working this time. There we go. Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
I am doing well. I am excited to talk to you, to share you with my audience again. They love you. And you're always welcome on my channel. And, I got to tell you, it's autumn, Libra season. The leaves are changing and it's cooling down in the desert where I'm at. I know you're on the left coast. So hopefully you're seeing, it's not like the East Coast where you see the leaves change and all that. But we are in Libra season. Venus has entered Libra. It's at 3 degrees. As we're doing this show, I always like to let everybody know it's a Sagittarius moon. And how fitting, Pisces rising. And Miss Anjani is a Pisces sun and Mercury. So it's perfect. And I guess I want to start off with number one. I kind of feel like Venus in Taurus is like the vacation home, and Venus in Libra is like the home. As they say in the Vedic astrology, I don't know, I can't even pronounce it, own dracon sign, or I don't know, whatever, right? You probably know the terms better than me. But give me a quick intro to, before we talk about how it's manifesting and playing out, what do you think of first when you think of Venus and Libra? And like always, we got to, when you get a chance, say hi to everybody in the chat, and you could just read that or whatever. Hey, everybody in the chat, and we'll get to everybody in a minute. But Miss Anjani, the floor is yours. What do you think of with Venus and Libra in the general energy?
Okay, so generally, my first thought goes to what phase is Venus in the 584-day cycle. So that is going to always flavor Venus more so than the sign. So that's what my first thought goes to.
I like that.
So as you know, Venus went in what we call into the underworld, means within 9 degrees of the sun. That was on, I want to say the 15th of September, somewhere around there. That now one morning we wake up and we can't see Venus in the morning sky anymore. So if we were in a shamanic culture who were following Venus, now when Venus goes into the underworld, we know something's happening. We're being like Inanna in the story of going into the underworld, the Babylonian or Sumerian story of Inanna. Right. When Venus goes with the sun, within 9 degrees conjunction of the sun, this is known as the death, like a death by intent.
And it's before, right? So it's not after because so the sun's at 8 degrees, Venus is at 3 degrees right now. So you mean when it's like below it in terms of the degree level, right? Not ahead of it, correct?
Yeah, below it. So
right. So when we can't see it with the naked eye, yeah.
Yes. When we can't see, imagine if we had been like the Mayans tracked Venus. The Mayans thought of Venus as having to do like the goddess of war. So if you think about love and how money, sexuality, pleasure, that really is what rules the world. That's what will make any warrior fight any battle. Amen. And the change of the royalty happens in this time of Venus being in the underworld. Irene. So That for me, that's what comes to mind first. And like in my own personal life, I'm like, ooh, yes, we are cooking when Venus is not visible. We are going through like some very deep transformation related to our relationship material. And so when now you get the sign, Venus in Libra really cares a lot about who is the queen, who is the king, how are that divine couple, how are they doing, how are they ruling the courtship. So a lot comes in that has to do with shared resources. Definitely a lot about who's coming home with you and who, who is ruling your empire, who's co-ruling your castle with you.
Right.
So that comes to my mind. But what do you think about?
Well, I think it's so fascinating, right? So I immediately think of, like you were saying, especially in Libra, the pleasure, the beauty, but the partnerships and relationships. So in the
Mhm,
marketplace, because we know of Libra being this object, right? It's the only
mhm,
sign that's an object. And I know a lot of the ancients believe that Libra sort of came in to separate. That's why the glyphs are the
mm,
same of Virgo and Scorpio, right? The M,
mhm,
and then the Virgo's got the almost like little crossed legs because it's the virgin and we're so prudish. Not. And then Scorpio, the tail, the stinger, like, right? So Libra comes in to sort of create the balance. But
mhm,
remember, people, Libra is speaking of peace, harmony, fairness, justice, and it's the scales of the marketplace, measuring rice and meat and your beans and all that, and the scales of justice. But Libra is seeking balance because most of the time Libra is unbalanced. So I think of that. And then when you can't see it with the naked eye during the day, and like you said, it's sort of like, I mean, you could say the underworld, like it's a hanging with Hades, right? Like it's
mhm,
kidnapped. I mean, I almost think of it like, huh, how does this affect our collective, the individual? Money, our partnerships for purchasing, for sales,
mhm,
marketing, business relationships, but then
mhm,
also for relationships and marriage, because it makes me feel as if this is the almost like a hibernation
mhm,
period, and
mhm.
almost like a period where it's harder to, I don't want to say manifest this energy, but harder to access it, where
Yeah.
things like money and relationship and marriage and love can be a little bit more difficult or
Mhm,
challenging.
mhm,
So I find that to be really fascinating at this time, especially with six planets in retrograde. And thank goodness, y'all, Mercury retrograde has been kicking your boys' butt. And it never does because it's in my birth chart natally. I have Mercury in retrograde in Virgo. So it never bothers me. This time,
mhm.
destroyed my phone, my computer, everything. So I think of that, right? So that is tomorrow stationing direct. Then Pluto stations direct on the 8th. And then on the 23rd, Saturn stations direct with Venus going into Scorpio and the Sun going into Scorpio. So uh, it's fascinating, and we'll see how it plays out. But I guess my main thought, and I want to ask you, is do you think that, because I heard you when you mentioned the courtship and the king and the queen, and then it made me think about, even though I don't validate and see that silliness, and RIP to the queen, I don't hate on anybody passing, but I don't see that as any valid. I just think of the oppression. That's what
Right.
I'm doing. You know what I mean? That's all I think about. It's like trillions of dollars that they got from India and Africa alone, and all the ancient artifacts. But I do think of one thing that you did say, because all I believe of the world wars and major wars are usually occurring when a king is in place instead of a queen.
Mm,
So I thought that was fascinating. And then we haven't had six planets in retrograde, I believe, since 1942.
mm,
So, with all this energy, it makes me think, it doesn't make me think of war, but like when you said that whole analogy, which was like beautiful, you're like, whoa, what's going on? What's happening with, gas prices have just jumped back up again after they were down for a bit. Netflix and Bitcoin had a boost, but then the interest rates went up again, but then real estate, like, so there's just a lot of Neptune Pisces confusion and illusion that I don't think we're seeing all this so clear. And then you got Venus opposing Aries in retrograde and Jupiter today, and so I you know what I mean? So where's our motivation? Where's our where's our self-love?
Mm.
So
Hey,
go ahead, tell me. I was going to say, tell me what you think about that, and where would you measure that in this whole scenario? Because I think all of this is the planets, the stars, the universe, the energy. It plays out like a story, like a movie, like a good book or a bad book. But it's our reality in our lives, right? As above, so down below, and so within. But it's a lot.
so also, because Venus started this phase January 2022 in the sign of Capricorn, the overarching theme of this 584-day Venus cycle has to do with this, like, remembering the grandmother wisdom. Capricorn is the grandmothers, the circle of grandmothers are the ones who always would have informed the chief or the king, or you don't do anything unless grandma says, because she's the one who gave birth to everybody in the tribe. The circle of grandmothers are everybody's mother, everybody's grandmother, and they're the wisdom keepers.
Yeah.
So for me, this Venus cycle has really been about, and also exposing. And I'll say that because Venus made those 3 transits with Pluto while Venus was in the underworld phase back in December. So Venus went into that underworld phase, ending the previous Venus cycle that was Gemini, and beginning the new cycle, which was going to be Capricorn. So the transformation and the discovery and the unburying, and I will give you an example of one way this is playing out. Okay, so
I can't hear you. Is she still there? Yeah, we lost you. Hold on. No, she's still here.
She's paused.
Yeah. Just make sure they're not on the internet.
always say, like,
Yeah. Well, we're having trouble hearing Anjani right now. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Because all right, she's going to come back in. I'll bring her back in. All right, she'll be coming back in. But what she's speaking of, you guys, is so powerful and it's so true. And with this Venus energy, because I don't know if you guys remember, it happened in Capricorn and then shifted to Aquarius, and that's when we had the little preview of the Roe v. Wade. Let me see. She should be coming back. Because it shifted with the conjunction of Venus-Mars, and that's when they kind of like pre-released, I think it was February. I don't know if you guys remember. It was Venus conjunct Mars in Capricorn, and then Venus conjunct Mars in Aquarius. Let me know if you guys can hear me.
She's waiting.
Okay.
I think.
No.
No.
Oh. Okay, there we go.
hello.
Got you back. Sorry about that.
Do you know what happened?
What?
I don't know.
Oh, no, you just froze. You were dropping some great jewels.
Yeah, I see
And
my
then-
face still frozen over here. I don't know what happened. That's so weird.
Yeah. So Venus and Capricorn, and I was just filling them in because I don't know if everybody remembers, and it's really fascinating. But remember when Venus was conjunct Mars in Capricorn, and then they both kind of moved to Aquarius together, that's when there was the little release from the Supreme Court that they were going
Yep.
to overturn Roe v. Wade. So
Mhm.
that sort of attack on reproduction and women's rights and health. So
Mhm,
oof,
mhm.
go ahead. I'm going to let you finish.
Yeah,
I
well,
know you
thanks
were
for
getting
getting,
deep.
thanks for bringing us to that. This has been really a thing of, like, there's no right answer. This is, see, some topics there just isn't a clear yes or no. It's like when I hear people that are very against it, I'm like, oh yeah, I get what you're saying. And when I hear people who are very for it, I'm like, yes, I hear what you're saying. There's no right or wrong answer. Whereas like other topics have a more
No,
clear,
there's so much nuance, and you're right. Because I always tell people I'm pro-choice, but I'm also pro-life. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
it's not. It's so heavy,
It's so
and to me,
heavy.
I think it comes back to no man should tell a woman to do with their body, and no government or system should. Because remember, and I said this to my audience, if they remember, I said, be careful, because when they announced that, it's affecting women and unborn babies at that point. But it's really a holistic view on healthcare and governments telling human beings what to do with their own health. And that's a
Mm-hmm.
Pandora's box that we don't want to open up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You really don't even want to get into stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. So with Venus in this Capricorn overarching theme, it has really been about, it's not over. It's really about us as a collective remembering the innate power and wisdom of the womb. The womb being a place of not beginning and not, what do you say, the zero, where all possibilities live, where the loving darkness, the void, the number zero in Mayan culture and also in Kemetic culture. If you read about the phenomenon, I will say, of the number zero, that is what the womb is. And
yes,
so who has power of this? Obviously, the people with the womb have the power of this, but for all of time that I can read about and what I've known about, somebody else wants to grab that power and, of course, yes, use it to fertilize the earth and to, like in the olden times, there was a lot of rituals like Beltane, for instance, revolving around sexuality, to use that energy to fertilize the earth and to bring crops and to have abundance and all of these things.
right.
So they knew, people know about this. They know.
Well,
And
but that's also why you have, so it's really deep, right? When you're saying that, right? Because it's, think about it like this. That's why we have, and it goes back to, I think of Black Moon Lilith and the divine feminine. And that's why we have the patriarchal system, and things have been out of whack for so long, because we've tried to suppress and oppress or control the divine feminine. But that's what's been waking up even before 2020, and I would probably say it was with the Mayan calendar since 2012, that there's been this slow rise, that as a collective we're ascending to 5D, but as a collective we're trying to get back into balance, right? If you think of the archetype of the god and the goddess, the yin yang, and just, I always say now yang, after you kind of schooled me on that. Like, I like how you pronounce it. You know what I mean? I used to just say yin yang. I ain't going front, but the yin yang, and really, get back into balance, which is what we need spiritually, we need mentally, we need psychologically and emotionally, because it hasn't just affected women. It's also thrown off men being in their sacred masculine. You know what I mean? So it's really, because I think right now there's an attack on both. Do you know what I mean? Like
yes,
on
absolutely.
masculinity and on femininity in different ways, but there's
Yeah.
an attack on both. So we got work to do, but everybody's doing it, and that's what I applaud. I think as a collective, we're all trying. We're not all. Let me watch my mouth. We're not all people who are aware and are trying to vibrate from the heart chakra, the light workers, the healers. I feel like we're all projecting that balance and the positivity and the light. And I do think it's shifting the collective.
Yeah, for sure. So what I was going to tell you also is that Venus makes a conjunction with the sun on October 20th. So this month is going to be a wild month. Like,
I,
I don't know how. I did hear a little bit from you where you're like, hey, this shit is getting real. So yeah, this month is like just back to back. Like, I myself am just holding so much compassion, and like I feel like I'm messing up, like doing dumb, like, okay, when you get to a point where you're like, all right, I'm riding this fine edge of refining my soul and refining my psychology, and I've been working. I read the chart every single day, and I
you
share
do.
in my Telegram group, like, all right, guys, this is the energy of the day. Here's some questions to reflect on. I work myself like that every single day. So when I
Good.
get to a point where I'm like, my trouble area has to do with intimacy, actually. So like when it gets to like I've got somebody in there with me, like seventh housing, getting ready for eighth house topics, like
Yeah.
that's whenever I start. So Venus is really my most challenging thing, which is why I'm
Well, but
working.
let me ask you though, do you think it's because of your Venus being in Aquarius?
I think it's because I have my Venus square to Chiron. Venus is on my midheaven. Venus is my chart ruler, and Venus is also opposite to Jupiter in my chart.
Right. So it
So
squares your ascendant and it's okay. Yeah, I see. I could see. Yeah.
it's challenging for me,
Right.
definitely. So that's why I work so much with it. And it's fine as long as I'm single and don't have somebody who I'm like interacting with. But the moment somebody gets close, I'm like, trying too hard, and then I'm like, don't try at all. So I'm like, oh, he didn't message me today. Oh, I'm being annoying. Okay, I will just disappear off the face of the earth, and then he's actually calling me and I didn't see the call, and I'm just, so
So
I
it's
seem
it's
avoidant.
you feel in the relationship realm, you're trying to find that balance. But what about, I mean, and we are kind of sharing not super personal, but just some general placements, and Anjani has been on here before. But the Sagittarius Neptune eighth house, what
Mhm.
role do you think? And this is apropos for everyone, right? Because when Venus and Mercury were just opposing Neptune and Pluto and the sun. I mean, sorry, Neptune and Pisces, which was just, really like September, like 20th, 21st. I thought about that and I was like, well, are people being unrealistic and idealistic about this fantasy love? And oh my God, I love her. And oh, I love him. And they're my love. And I just, oh, did they come in on the horse? You know what I mean? Like, and so because when Venus is in Virgo, it doesn't know how to finesse it, right? It kind of over I theorize that, and I've seen it play out because I have some friends with that placement, and I feel like they can be overly critical in relationships. We're just talking
Mhm.
about Venus and Virgo, guys. But just I'm thinking about it opposing Neptune and Pisces, but just as the sun, as we made the transition, because we all feel those ingresses, especially with the sun sign as a collective, right? So I think as a collective, we're all sort of seeking. Autumn comes, we're getting ready for winter. Even if you're still in a warmer climate, you naturally seek that shift and change from Virgo summer to the new season, the equinox of autumn, but also then the themes of the Libra sun: partnership, relationship, marriage, right? Where they call it cupping or cuddle,
Cuffing
cupping,
season.
cuffing season. I've seen some great astrologers do some funny videos on that, but it's real, right? It's not like we can
Real.
joke about it, but it is real. And it also makes sense when you think of just the weather change and the shift.
Mhm.
We do kind of want to get booed up for the winter because you are inside more and you want to connect for
Mhm.
intimacy, but also companionship. because you're not out socializing. You're not Venus and Gemini. Where you're like, hey, what's up? Oh, let's get some drinks. Like, oh, let's do shots. Oh, I'm going to this spot. Oh, yeah, I'll meet you at that spot. And then, you know what I mean? That's Venus, Gemini. That's like all like, you know, the end of spring and the summer. Venus, Cancer. Oh, let's do the family, nostalgia, barbecues. Venus, Leo. Oh, I'm up in the club, nighttime. The sun's setting late. We're partying. We're dancing. Venus and Virgo's like, I'm getting ready for fall. So I'm going to start to analyze and assess who do I want to get booed up with. It gets critical and picky. Nah, I don't. Oh, no, I don't like her toenails. Oh, no, he don't make enough money. Oh, he's not over 6 feet. Oh, her butt's not big enough. You know what I mean? So like you get all these things.
Oh, shit.
And then we go to, but that's real, right?
That's for real.
That's very real. Venus, Virgo. Because Virgo brings it to reality, the physical earth. But reality, this is what I love about Virgo. Virgo's not Taurus and Capricorn. It's almost like the Scorpio is the water fire sign because of Mars. And then Virgo is the earth air sign because of Mercury. So that's how I think of it. So Venus in Virgo is like, you know, strategizing, analyzing, no, you know. And then we get to Venus and Libra and it's just like, oh, enough of that. I don't want to be alone.
Damn. So you also, okay, so Venus, Virgo is air in the form of communicating. Okay, Gemini is air in the form of thoughts, just like rapid synapses going off. That's how fast it's like, can't even say all the things, it's so fast. And Virgo is, Libra is air in the form of talking. So we get
but they're great listeners too.
Yeah, well, because part of that is like being able to go both ways. And they're the need of Virgo. I don't have, you know what I have in Libra? That's why I can't even, I have Pluto in Libra and that's it. So Libra is not a
you just hit a deep point.
thing.
You just answered your own thing. When we were talking about the intimacy and the merging, and I found this, I'm actually writing a great blog that's taking me forever on Pluto, but I'm going through Cancer through Aquarius. That's why it's taking me a long time. And I'll put it up in the next week or two, I promise. But it's going to be a doozy. I'm really proud of it, but I'm investigating and getting deep into, but the Pluto Libra archetype, your generation, you know, we're really talking that 71-ish, you know, to 83, a little snippet in 84 before we really got to, you know, Pluto Scorpio. But Pluto Libra generation, you learn your pain, trauma, and crises and your life lessons, and then the surrendering of the power control dynamics and learning to heal self. And I call it the Trinity of trust. Trusting yourself, trusting others, and trusting God's source energy. It's all through relationships. Yeah. So everybody with Pluto, I know very few Pluto Libra generation people that have not had issues with relationships, that have not gotten divorced, that have not, you know, a lot of you guys have the baby mama, baby daddy. There's a lot, but the lessons and the pain and the trauma and crises all come through with the other half.
Definitely.
And
yeah,
so
it's a powerful placement too when you get it right, because
yeah,
it's like, because Pluto in Libra, the whole generation of everybody you said through 71 through 84, these people, that partnership is the empire, because when you get it right, you are going to have, because Pluto has to do with that regenerative wealth, regenerative, you know, when you leave your kids a business and a property, and this is the only thing that I care about. So my dating will go based off of, do I think he can, do you think that this person will be part of building your empire? If the answer is no, I don't even find them attractive in the least.
That's
so
deep.
That I feel like that's part of like, okay, so when it goes, I'm like, that's going to be, we're building together and that's it. And we're going there together. That's why I love people who have strong Pluto placements, because I know that that's going to be good.
That's deep. So when you say that though, do you think it's, Also attached to that square of Pluto Capricorn where we're at now,
Mm,
legacy,
legacy.
foundations,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
teamwork,
Yep.
right? Generational wealth, but also
Mm-hmm.
building and leaving something for, right, your mother of three kids. So you don't want to just, bring someone in. You want to bring someone in also that adds on to also leave for your offspring. You know what I mean? Like, I think that that's really a deep way of thinking about it. So transitioning from that, and maybe, you know what? Why don't you want to read a couple of these comments and say hi to some of these people? I see we got some folks here. Wow, we got a lot of comments. Okay. Well, you guys can also share where your Libra placement is and where your Venus is. Okay, I think that's also part of the curiosity and stuff. And if you have any direct, specific questions or whatever, Anjani can ask them, but answer them. Do you think that, okay, because I mentioned those three in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Mercury tomorrow, Pluto the 8th, a week from today,
Mm-hmm.
and then the triple entendre, Saturn going direct, Venus and the Sun entering Scorpio. Do you think that we will start to actually begin to move forward and stop replaying, reanalyzing, reassessing? And can we hopefully move forward if we're doing the work? Because my thing that I realize that a lot of this plays into is our self-worth and our self-love. And I know that's kind of more Venus Taurus, but it's still Venus Libra, because guess what? If we don't put in the work to have the self-love, we can't have the transformative, healthy Venus Libra relationships.
You know how Virgo, when we go in the sun, the progression of the sun, we had Virgo season. That's where we're like getting our shit together, making our cabinets make sense and making our car be orderly, and our life becomes more organized and orderly. And through that, now you're able to invite somebody into a space that is,
At least we hope so. And if not outwardly, definitely here.
at least that, at least. But I mean, I honestly, don't feel like somebody who has a disarray can have mental organization also, because that's the whole art of feng shui.
Yes.
As within, so without, as you know what I mean. So now, because Venus was just in Mercury, it just in, what do you say,
Virgo.
the Virgo, Venus was also, because that's our internal, that's like, if I always like, it's like this, what I'm drawing to me that's Venus. What I'm drawing to me, it's my
Because it's receptive.
internal, yes, the receptive power that I have. Then when we're going through Venus being in Virgo, we're really like, that's what's attractive about, that's what we feel attracted to, that's what we want to pull in. And then now that Venus moves into Libra yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever that was, now there's a transition into like, now I want somebody to fill this space. I've created all this new space. I've cleared all these things. There's this new space. So Venus in Libra wants to pull something in. And depending upon what stage people are in their lives, cuffing season doesn't do it for me, because I do not find anything. I'm looking for
something real.
What's going to take me to the next level? If you don't stimulate some sort of like seriously big growth, I ain't trying to cuff nobody. I don't even find that even the most gorgeous, beautiful, sexy man it's not getting it for me if we're not doing it for real. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So cuffing season, I feel like Venus in general, I don't feel like is a cuffing archetype. I feel like that's more Mars. It's just like because you
I
want
agree.
to have, you know what I mean? You want to have the physical thing going on and have that. But anytime there's this, it does involve both. So, you know what I mean? Like,
So with this Libra theme that we're dealing with in Venus, and the sun is there, and then Mercury will join on, I think it's October 10th or 11th. I think it's the 11th. We have the Aries full moon October 9th. But Mars and Gemini, really 6.5, 7th month cycle. It's
right.
going to go retrograde and then go back to where it's at now, the 8th degree point. And it'll go retrograde. I think is it the end of November. I think it's November 30th, and then goes back or something. But it's here for the next 6 months, right? So that's really interesting to me because Mars in Gemini in America's charts in the 7th house of the other half. And I think that can explain a lot of America's assassinations and wars. And, Mars and Gemini could literally be weapons verbally, but hand-to-hand combat, right? But then I'm thinking about how does Mars and Gemini play out with this long run during Libra, Scorpio, Sag, like all these seasons, because
Right.
we are going to have Mars trine Saturn, Mars trine Libra, Sun, and
Oh,
Venus.
that's right. Yeah, that's coming
Yes,
up this
yes,
month.
yes. So,
You
so
you started this by asking about, and I think the question was like layered and we got on one, but I didn't answer what I was you were asking about when these planets go direct, and we are having, it's not gonna, it's like
yeah,
this forward movement of everything this thing between Saturn and Uranus, the 90-degree angle, which is right now between
the
yes,
revolution, the square, yeah.
yeah. So we're in that, which is very like constrictive. What do you say? Contracting, and it's that I feel like that is a
It's a dance,
motivator.
right? It's a dance, just like the North and South Node and these eclipses. Oh my God.
And then when those planets start to go direct, and then we have that eclipse that involves Venus also. So Venus and Mars, I feel so much like this winter is going to be really telling. I'm not partnered, so it's hard for me to say. My experience right now is completely different than people who are married, but I feel that intimacy can really deepen. Let me say it like that. If you're not going to be able to deepen that intimacy, means that you have to be really honest and clear, because there's Neptune involved a lot with this Mars 7-month Mars cycle. Neptune is all up in that at a challenging aspect.
Especially towards the end of the cycle, yeah.
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 So I feel like that could really bring up like what are your true desires? How for Mars. And I'm not going to get into, maybe you'll want to talk about this, but with the gender things, because Mars, for me, I can equally be emasculated as much as a man can be emasculated. If me and you are sitting together talking, and there's a third person that comes, and I direct my attention to that third person, and then you like slap me in the face because I'm ignoring you.
Oh
You
my
wouldn't do, as a man, you
God. Right.
wouldn't do that. But a woman might smack you. And that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, you mean in the sense like if okay, so like if the third party comes and let's say it averts the man's attention
yes.
and he's maybe disrespecting his woman or relationship by like all eyes on this new lady. That's what you're saying, like, yeah, like could it, yeah.
Kind of, but not really, because what I'm talking, this is it happened to me, and it's a really weird thing where, for like, if me and you are talking, it don't have to be no romantic nothing. Me
Yeah.
and you are just sitting here talking. Somebody else comes into the room and you start talking to them. And if I hit you and be like, Eric, And then you're like, oh, haha, cute, because it's a woman and she did that, and it wouldn't be really anything. Because that's women do that. You're like, hey, but if it's the other way around,
That's a whole
and
different experience. Yeah.
you smack me talking about, hey, that's going to be a whole different thing. And there's what I'm getting at is that we have a lot of gender rules.
Rules.
And so you won't do something. And I can tell you, this happens to me on a daily. If I go into the world just how I am, how I look, I get treated a certain way. If
Right.
I go into the world with a man, any man, it could be my son, the big one, I get treated completely different. Like
What's the difference though? Explain.
respect. It's respect. They will treat me with respect because they don't want no smoke from the man.
Okay.
But if I'm by myself, it's like, hey, hola, mami, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Okay. So the overt, and I mean, not to get too personal, but where's your Lilith again?
Oh, I have Lilith actually opposite Venus. So it's like 10 degrees Leo opposite my, yeah.
Well, that tells part of the story. You're aware of that, right?
And it is a
Because it's an
thing.
angular house. You see, this is the thing, and I have this theory. It's not even a theory. I see it with so many clients. Male or female, Lilith is stronger in a woman's chart. But when Lilith is in 1, 4, 7, or 10, I have client after client, male or female. When Lilith is on the angular houses, and for you as a Taurus rising, it's in your 4th house, right? In Leo. And then in Leo, it's, it can be very, whatever. What happens to the people on the ascendant? I mean, you got men and women hitting on you. You could go outside looking like a homeless person and people will hit on you in the weirdest, wildest ways. In the 7th house, you got people kind of rejecting you sometimes in relationships, partnerships, and business. But I find that there are a lot of extramarital affairs when people have Lilith in the 7th house. When you have it in the 10th house, you're at the job. I had this one client, she had all these older men. She worked like at a hospital. She's like, oh my God, Eric, you totally saw that in the chart. That happens to me every day. Guys hit on me at work. It's always older men. It's always really weird. But I laugh it off. But she's like, that totally happens to me. And then at home, 4th house, it doesn't have to be the physical home. It can be your hometown, home city, or in your any time where you are in like a nurturing role sometimes. The Lilith energy, and then the sign flavors it for you, Leo, right? So even when you're being creative, people can, and the key with Lilith is not to expect to face the rejection, but people just with the Lilith archetype, people can reject you for just being you. So that's when you're solo. But then when you come with someone else, Lilith Leo is combined with their energy. Their chart laps on top of yours. And so they don't come at you crazy. But when you're just in your home city, walking around on the left coast, that Lilith Leo, people see this because Leo's the shine in the spotlight too. So people are just kind of like coming at you like crazy. And I'm sure, and you can tell us, right? You probably have men and women hit on you, correct?
All the time. And this is the thing too. I'm like, I am 43 years old. No, people don't believe me, but I'm like, no, trust me. I can be with my hair just like in a total bun and like wearing running clothes. And so what I was saying is that this timing has a lot to do with Venus being in this Capricorn 584-day Venus cycle has a lot to do with like respect, like just basic respect that we would give to a man standing in his clothes next to a woman standing in her clothes. Like the respect given to humans should not be different just because he's a man and she's a woman. And this whole thing with like deciding whether or not what we're going to do with our womb that's in our body, that's running our breasts and our fucking endocrine system. Like the fact that that's even up for debate, that tells you that what I'm saying is that we are getting back to a place of like recognizing the separation that we have. And I'm not complaining about, I'm not complaining, because there are some things that I really like about being considered this soft feminine thing. Like, there's a lot that I enjoy. And also I feel like when we have this eclipse, sun moon conjunction with Venus, I feel like it's gonna be powerful.
The 25th of
Ooh,
October.
I got chills.
That
Like,
solar eclipse. And then, the lunar eclipse in Taurus on your ascendant is on election day, November 8th.
it's on election
I've been
day.
telling the audience, I said, oh my gosh, when you look at that chart, both of those eclipses, because of the Venus being there, Saturn going direct, and then, Venus and the sun in Scorpio, and then Venus being the ruler of the eclipse because it's in Taurus, and then the Mars side of it with the Scorpio, Mars in Gemini, and it won't be in retrograde yet, but still Mars in Gemini. I can't even. I've heard other astrologers try to describe. I don't know if we can even describe it or predict it, because it's just one of those situations where literally anything karmic, fated, receptive, transformative, healing, surrendering, pain, crisis, money, pleasure, relationship, it's all on the table, and it can go any way. And what we've got to do, I think, is truly to get prepared for this energy is back what I was saying earlier with the Venus archetype. We have to kind of get in our core of self-love, get in the heart chakra, get in the sacral, get in the root chakra, and really kind of ask these deeper questions about healing the Chiron wound in Aries, right? And then Jupiter. And then this is the other aspect of this. I think we get a little gift, but then I don't know if it's a gift, because we'll have the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction again. October 28th to December 20th, Jupiter, you guys, is going to go back into Pisces.
Yeah.
And I think that is going to play a part of the story that can add a whole nother level of confusion, illusion, deception, fantasies, dreams, being unrealistic, idealistic, that we just can't predict. And that's kind of in between the two eclipses. So you're saying November 25th, October 25th, then October 28th, and then November 8th. So it's like right in between that, obviously it's closer to the 25th, but still in between the two eclipses. And I'm just like, okay, we've got to go within in order to, I think, go outwardly in a successful way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jupiter also, this has been big for me, looking at where is Jupiter in people's charts, because this is where there is like a spirit guide, or really Jupiter is our inner guru, the inner light within us that's already fully, the part of you that is already enlightened, the part of you that already knows everything, that has everything, your inner fortune and your inner continuous fountain of youth and wealth and joy. So when we see Jupiter, and you've been able to visually connect with that planet, it made me cry the other night when I went out there and was just like feeling, well, I have it in the 12th house. And so the change that's been happening for me spiritually, and my, the whole inner 12th house things. So for people to look at where Jupiter, what house is that for you? Because when it goes back into Pisces for a little bit, my feeling, of course, I have 5 celestial bodies.
Well, I know I was going to get to that.
The thing I'm about to say might seem annoying, but it is my reality bubble, which is like illusion, delusion, fantasy, all of those things. The only thing that makes, let's say like this, the only thing that makes somebody be delusional or a visionary is how much they're able to ground it and bring it down to earth. So when we look at Jupiter going back into Pisces, for me, I'm like, go. Go as deep and as far out as you can possibly go, but bring a journal so you can trace your steps back. You can remember how you got there, how to get back, because the only thing that's going to make it some fantasy, imagination, like fluff, the only way you're going to bring that into like something concrete is if you do it on purpose. So when you go to sleep at night,
So intentionality, to be intentional.
What's the question? Because during Jupiter in Pisces, we get all the answers. But if you don't have the question,
right,
all the answers make you seem crazy. And it's like you trying to explain a dream to somebody or a peyote journey that you had. You sound completely ridiculous. The only way that doesn't make it sound ridiculous is if you show evidence. You have to show evidence through how did it shape you? How did you
You're making me smile and crack up. You said the peyote journey, because it makes me think about like the I think it was my first or second acid trip, and trying to explain it to someone else. You do sound crazy, and it's just like, oh my God, it's so funny because, okay, I'm just glad for you, and I know for my wife and a lot of Pisces sons, that ingress or regress, that retrograde back in there, it's not going to hit your natal sun.
Right.
But this is the only problem. And you guys, if you've got 27, 28, 29 degrees Pisces planet placements, you can let us know, whatever. But, Jupiter is going to be conjuncting Neptune in Pisces. And that was the day of the nitrogen gas on the train in Brooklyn of the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction when, oh boy, shot people on the train, but thankfully didn't kill anybody in New York, right? And so Jupiter, unfortunately, what you said about it is all correct. But don't forget, even though it is this great benefic, and it's, a lesser benefic in a night chart if your sun is below the horizon, and a greater benefic if your sun is above the horizon, like both of us as 11th house suns, right? Mars is our greater malefic and Jupiter is our greater benefic. But this is the problem. Jupiter, it can expand bad things too, right? Can expand your ego, can expand your weight, can expand illusion and deception when it's conjunct Neptune. So, and then in America's chart, that's in the 4th house of our home's tell-eye vision, like I always say, right? All the Netflix, all the this, all the that, the idiot box, right? And the news and the stories and the look over here, look over there, the women in Iran, look over here, Ukraine, look over here, Russia. Oh, is Putin sick? Is he cloned? Is he alive? Is he dead? Look over there. Oh, a new flu shot mixed with a vaccine. Look over here, this, that. When Jupiter goes back and conjuncts Neptune, I bet I'd go to Vegas and put some chips. You are going to see from October 28th to probably Thanksgiving wild levels of illusion and deception that can be bloviated and expanded that we can't see through the fog. The fog will get thicker. And so there's a lack of clarity visually and probably mentally and third eye wise. So that, I think it could get better, maybe closer to Christmas, like maybe December 15th on, maybe your heart expands and your compassion and you're like, I'm going to get great Christmas gifts for everybody. but that first little part, I'll be curious to see, because I think that Jupiter expansion is not going to be all bubble gum and flowers.
Yeah, the thing is, again, this is some Pisces shit I'm about to say. So,
which I totally get and love.
The thing is, like, trust, it doesn't occur as something happening outside that I can see, or the trust. So for me, when Jupiter goes into Pisces and makes that conjunction with Neptune, my emphasis is on the expanded vision, the bigger dream. Where could I imagine bigger? And then so like the things going on in the world have no impact in a way, because I'm closer to my inner sea, the
Yes.
ocean inside.
So
So
that's the protection.
the
That's
thing
the
is,
protection.
we live with people, so I will hear, like, my son's dad is really into, he's got Mars and Gemini, Leo rising. He is very much that Gemini thing, like super into, he knows everything that's going on, all the conspiracy things, and like
Good.
he knows all that stuff. When he tells me, I'm like, stop. Like, I can't even, like, because my focus is so much on my dream, what I'm creating, my vision, that these transits are a boost for me. They're really helpful for me when the rest of the world is looking at the news and following all these
Exactly.
portrayals of shit. That's whenever I bring it all the way in. And
Yes.
I feel like the transits
And that's the key for the audience, right? I would tell them, be intentional. And I think starting October 27th, and you should do it every day, right? But let's say if we're giving some helpful tips and advice, because knowledge is love, right? I would say start now after watching our show. But if you can't, even October 27th, increase the meditation time, you guys. Increase the prayer closet time. Get humble, get introspective, get intentional about the positive affirmations, self-love talk, but get intentional in connecting with your root chakra, your Lilith, your Pluto, healing and transformation, and internalizing and kind of blocking out, like you said, the noise. Because I agree, since I've turned off the television, I only watch my sports because I am half Cro-Magnon man, but I don't watch the news. I don't get into this. I don't even look at the things that come up on my phone, the 30th notification about Kim Kardashian and silliness. I don't care. I don't look at it. So for me, you're right. That Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, it's going to expand my spiritual experience. But I'm just being realistic in terms of the society and America's chart and the collective. For others, some people can't turn off that box.
True.
And they need to, but I know that some folks can't. And I would implore you, starting October 27th, if you can at least start it then, even let's say to Christmas or to the New Year, and maybe you'll continue on forever. Try to at least meditate 15 to 30 minutes a day, if not more, but at least if you can't, have you never done anything, do that. And that can help you go through the challenging energy. And actually I would do it, forget October 27th. I would do it. Let's go back to Venus and Scorpio and the sun going into Scorpio. Start even October 23rd, because you got to get ready for these eclipses. You know what I mean? That's just real talk. I mean, so let me ask you this, right? What's your thoughts of, because one thing I know I've seen a lot with a lot of Libra sun signs, right? So we know Venus is only 48 degrees away from the sun, right? So like if you're a Pisces sun, so your Venus is either going to be in Cap, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus. Yours is in Aquarius. I'm a Virgo sun. My Venus is, two over. My Venus is in Scorpio. But for the Libra suns that actually, I almost lost my train of thought, but I'm getting to the Mercury, because I want to, talk a little bit about that with you. The Mercury in Libra. Very often I find the judgment, the devil's advocate, the passive aggressiveness. And I'm thinking of the negative traits, because Venus in Libra can be great for lawyers and communicating and event planners and social workers and wedding planners and great teachers and all these positive traits. But when I think about the Mercury Libra connection with the Venus and the sun all kind of playing out together, with the depositors, kind of like, I think of Gemini, so you look at Gemini, what Venus is doing with the North Node and Taurus and all that. But then you think about Mercury, well, that's in Gemini. And then, there's really nothing in Virgo except for some asteroids, I think right now, whatever. But, how do you relate to or understand or think Mercury Libra will play out with the whole march together to Scorpio, right? They're all kind of like, all right, let's get on the train. We're going to Scorpio land together. We're getting on the Libra train. How will that play out, that train ride?
Okay, I just pulled up the chart so I could have a peek at it,
Okay.
just to see, because you also have to consider that we're just coming off of this retrograde.
Yes.
I don't know what came up for people. I don't
Oh, it was
know.
terrible for me.
Was it? Um, so yeah, so you want to take that into consideration, what was being reworked and what changed in your perspective. And then, because like I said earlier with Virgo, it's like we're cleaning the cabinets of our CPU, our central processing unit. We're
Yeah.
cleaning out the cabinets, we're organizing. I threw a lot of stuff away. I redid my entire kitchen, like painted, I cleaned the walls and the ceiling and
Good for you.
completely redid all of that stuff. And then
Ooh, girl, I got to get in my closet and my desk. Oof.
I went through and gave away clothes, redid my bookshelves are in order, like the titles and like these are the herb books, these are the I did all that stuff during Virgo season. And it was during that the retrograde includes Virgo. And
Yeah.
then it's gonna now going through Libra. I really feel like it's like, what have I done to think about brain synapses, because Mercury is like that. And if you've done those Virgo things that you need to do, you're you're
Virgo has receipts.
communicating.
Virgo's
Hmm?
about the truth and the receipts.
Yes, you're keeping it very clean and very real. So saying things, okay, let me give you a very real example. I woke up one day from I made a medicine with sun opener and blue lotus flower and some other like guayusa leaf and mint. So I made this potion.
I was gonna
And
say, just for the audience, Anjani's a potion maker. She's all about the healing. I love it.
I
Wait, but
drink
let me
it.
ask you. Wait, I know I don't want you to lose your train of thought, so we'll get back to the potion real quick. I just want to ask you: is it your astrology knowledge that has you think, playing into the archetype of what should we be doing during Virgo season, or would you equate that more to another planetary placement in your chart? I just want that analogy to play out for people, because I want them to be able to look in their charts and understand as we talk these themes, and then how, because that's what I teach my clients, right? It's the map of your life. So how do we use these energies to
Yeah,
navigate and move with it to be at our highest vibration? And so I'm wondering, was it
definitely.
you
It's
falling,
Virgo season for
or okay,
everybody.
so it is Virgo season, or I was going to say, is it your Pisces 11th house sun or Taurus rising? Or do you think, no, the Virgo season
It
overrides?
was definitely Virgo season,
Okay.
definitely Mercury going retrograde
Yes.
between Virgo and Libra.
Fifth and
So
sixth house for you. Yeah.
I drank this stuff. It was delicious. It was so good. I drank the whole thing, and it gave me complete full body aches.
Oh,
And the medicine is supposed to do that. And I read it. It was like the most common uh, thing that people tell not whatever most
right. The
people
side
will.
effects, like the
Yeah,
remedies, yeah, of the
most
remedy.
people will say that they felt these body aches. So I was like, oh man, this for real. Like the bottoms of my feet were tingly. It hurt to put the sheet on my body.
Is
So
that
it
the blue
works.
lotus? Is it, what is it? Is it
The
recalibrating
sun
the
opener,
chakras and the nerves, or what?
the sun opener, the blue lotus
I've
is.
never heard of sun opener, so that's interesting.
Yeah, me either. It's a Mexican herb. It's from
Wow.
Mexico, from the Mayan culture.
Oh, dope.
So
Okay.
this what it does is like gets your nerves. So basically it like shoots all the energy out to the top layer of you. So that's why you hurt. That's why you hurt. So you have to employ every bit of tools and internal technology that you have, which is why, as Eric said, getting into a meditation process is not optional anymore. You have to.
Yeah. Especially
So
if you're trying to ascend. I mean, as a
if you're
collective, we got to do this work, y'all.
trying to survive, even like meditation is necessary, because if you don't know what's happening in your mind, like the most thing that I will hear people say, that they don't want to meditate because they don't want to deal with what's going on in there. They can't, it's too much. They don't like it. So they don't want to hear it. Well, you have to, because it's like a long, bad trip that you're having continuously every day. You're going to have to go through a few hard trips, bad trips that's going to last. Maybe it's going to be the first month that you practice meditation, but eventually it's going to improve everything. So anyway, the effect of this medicine is that it hurts your whole body. All I could do was lay down and go to sleep. But when I woke up in the morning, the other side effect is auditory hallucinations.
Really?
So when I woke up,
You were
I
hearing
heard,
voices.
it was like more so I saw an image and I heard a word. It wasn't like someone's just telling me a whole story.
Okay.
It was like I saw the baseboards and was like, do the baseboards. I was talking to somebody for like 3 months, but it wasn't going anywhere. And I really didn't like him. And it was just, the thing I want it. And I am it. The saying is, be the love that you love with.
Exactly.
So I am that. And then I'm like he's like not it, but I'm wanting to make it what it's not.
And you can't force it, and you don't want to. Right.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. So the other thing was like, tell him and be detailed and tell him the reasons why that you don't want to talk to him anymore. So for me, the Virgo, Libra, the retrograde going between those two is like getting specific and detailed, Virgo, on what it is that you want to bring to closer to you, who you're going to share your resources with, all the Libra things. Because you know what? If we were in a time that we didn't have a grid, we would have to, Eric, if you were in my community, I would need to know, who are you? What do you do? What produce do you have? Is your wife doing, you know what I'm saying? We need to know each other. And that's
so we could barter and trade and help each other as a collective. Exactly. Yeah.
So Mercury going through Libra is going to be about those brain synapses going off and like looking at first of all, who am I in my community? What is my role in my community? And this is where astrology is really helpful, because I talked to somebody today, 32 years old, and she was like, I'm going to quit my job. I quit my job and I want to, do more of who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm like, well, what is that? And she's like, I don't know. I just know it's not this.
Right.
So, in the Mayan culture, also what I learned is the reason for astrology was to tell people, who are you in this tribe? Who are you in this village?
Right.
So as
it's like human design, finding your energetic role and then playing it out, which becomes more intuitive and easier because the roles can be very clear and defined.
And here we are being brought into fake communities that aren't really communities at all. And we don't know what our role is. So we're just stumbling around in a dark room trying to figure things out. Well, that's the best person to hire for your factory so somebody else can get rich. So this is why I feel like Mercury doing this retrograde between Virgo and Libra.
Yeah,
and
air
now
to earth. Yeah.
And now moving through, this is going to be really about us communicating. And even us right now in this chat, it's like people in here, oh, okay, Jennifer, I know she does this. Let's hook her up with so-and-so. Maybe this person can do the media things. And you know what I mean? That is the organic way of Mercury. It's to
And that's what I love about just even referring to them. That's what I love about my people. I will say honestly, like Irene will talk to Danny, and Jacqueline will talk to Irene, and then Hope will talk to Jennifer, and Mad Gaming will talk to, and then everybody kind of, they ask how each other are doing. You know what I mean? And that's what I've facilitated my entire life. So to be able to duplicate that on YouTube, on my astrology channel, on my podcast, I mean, it brings warm tears to my heart because that's who I've been my entire life. I was telling my boys, just a quick little story and analogy, like they were asking about, because they're 9 and 4th grade, and they were asking about recess or whatever, and that I'd like to play whatever. And I said, yeah. I said, I would play football with my friends. And I said, but I was always always had a big mouth. I was always talky, right? That 11th house stellium Virgo. But I was always about what's right and what's fair. So we'd be like, I'm captain. And that would be to pick the captain. And then you would do rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first to choose your team. Well, some kids would try to always hog it. And every day, Monday through Friday, they want to be captain. Well, I was the type person, I would like be the one to challenge the bully or to break up something for fairness. So I'd be like, no, Michael and Danny, you were just captain yesterday. Now it's Willie and Sam's turn or Willie and Rodney's turn to be captains. And so I would take charge to dispense out fairness equally within the group. But I think that's it's a very 11th house thing, right? And all about the collective and humanity. And I've been like that my entire life, even in 4th grade. And so that's what I want here. You know what I mean? And that's what I want for the world and society. And like, I guess without thinking about it, I've been ready for Pluto and Aquarius for a long time. And so I love that with my community, and I implore them, and I try to make those connections, because I think it's hard having this wisdom and knowledge and doing light work and positive and healing when you're kind of doing it alone, and you are, like you said, in the dark, and you're in not a community or the wrong community, right? And that's why we have to build and extend and grow these collective communities, because we are each other's support system, and we need it more now than ever. Because, and I just want to go back to what you were saying, because I thought it was deep when you were talking about the Pluto Libra generation. It makes me think of to that square of Pluto Capricorn, and we're in this retrograde, and then that's going to go direct next week, a week from today, you guys. It's really deep, because we're going to get the little sneak peek from March to May of 2023, right, of Pluto and Aquarius. Then it retrogrades back, and then on January 21st, 2024, for 20 years, right? This was a 16-year run. This is going to be 20 years, right? Pluto and Capricorn, 08 to 24. This is 24 to 44. And the last 28, 29th degree is going to be wild. The systems, the structures, the financial, the medical, the political, they're going to start. I mean, that's what brought up the Me Too, the pandemic, the virus. We're going to see such a shakeup. My prediction, June of 23 to January 24. Woo, hold your hat on. You know, you might have flying saucers going into the White House. Who knows what's going to happen?
We will. Definitely. There will be some of that Aquarian outer space things it's done. I already know that.
I already know. I mean, and so I just, I say all that to say that you're right. It's not an option. I don't care if it's scary and it hurts. We have got to meditate. I love the intentionality that we've been doing in my home with my 3 boys, 9, twin 9s, twin boys at 9 and a 13-year-old, of meditating, praying, the sound bowl, toning. And my kids say, Dad, I sleep better. And I said, I know, buddy. And I said, it's so powerful for you to learn this at 9 years old, because I'm doing it at 51 and 52. If I knew this at 9, my life would have played out so differently. And I implore all you guys in the chat, and sorry, we're not meaning to ignore you guys tonight. We're just kind of wanting to dispense and share. But it is so crucial, you guys, to get this, and it's not one way. That's the thing. I think that sometimes I see spiritual healers or gurus or people try to act arrogant, like there's only one way to skin a cat or do something or to spiritually evolve. Find your way, find your method, and bring in multiple things. You could be into astrology. You could be into tarot. You could be into plant medicine. You could be into numerology, human design. You can be into meditation. You could, mix it and bring in prayer. You can do toning. You can do just quiet meditation. You could do guided, do yoga. Don't be afraid of anything and try it all. Because when you do, the healing and the power, I've been dealing with a lot in my personal life. It was just the 21st was the 1-year anniversary of my mother passing. Right now, this time last year, I was still sleeping in coma, right? I didn't wake up. I got transferred to the hospital October 10th. I didn't wake up till October 13th, 40 days. And so I am feeling through these emotional tough times and hurdles, I'm feeling at such peace, more than I ever thought that I would. Because the anxiety was building up, right? And then I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then I was like, oh, I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. And talking to my mom and just, connecting with God's source energy and meditating and the support from my family. And I'm realizing that this ritual and routine of the meditation and really connecting has been life-changing and such a blessing for me in this time that I can tell you, I don't know if I would have gotten through it the way that I have without being intentional about the positive self-talk, the meditation, all of it. And it's worth it, you guys. Do the work. It gets easier each time you do it too. But just do it. So thank you for listening to my spiel.
Well, also with Pluto giving us a little taste of being in Aquarius, some of the things that have been most important, probably since 2019, that I've been noticing personally, and that if you're saying this meditation things, what's your rising sign again?
Scorpio.
Okay, so yeah, that, and then my little spiel is like, grow your food, learn how to take care of basic at home, the grandmother wisdom of how do you get the food grown, how do you prepare it, cook it, can it, save it, how do you heal, basic things. So the self-reliance, because I got Taurus rising. Okay, so he's like, let's get our minds right and our soul and our psychology, and then I'm like, let's get our hands in the earth and go back to the simplicity of my grandparents had their own. We grew our own food when my grandparents were alive. They had set aside a little plot in their yard that we had a garden, and my grandma cooked every meal. There was no going out to eat. And so whenever like 2020 and they're like, oh, the restaurants are closed, didn't faze me. I didn't even notice it because I don't do that.
Yeah.
So when all these things start continue collapsing and changing, and our reliance on the social systems is, hopefully you have found out that you need to like pull yourself away from those systems and begin to create small systems. So I'm not saying do it by yourself.
No. And that was the whole North Node in Gemini. It just wasn't the podcast boom, because that happened during the pandemic. It was hand-to-hand exchange. And I always say it to the audience, they know, right? If I grow strawberries and oranges and you grow broccoli and kale and we trade, then we both got fruits and vegetables.
Exactly. And we can teach each other. That's another this is in I get kind of confused, right? Because like I suck at certain things and I'm really good at making herbal medicine and growing food. Like the things that I'm really good at, don't take me away from that so I can learn marketing. Like I don't want to, that's why I will pay you. I will give you some of my medicine. I have loads of medicine. I will give it to you. So somebody who's an expert at marketing, they can do it. Also, there are places that I have nudged into. Like I did my own baseboards. I'm a Pisces. This is not my forte, but there are places where I didn't know how to do agriculture, and I learned that. And it turned out to be something that I am good at, and I do love it. So it's
I do think people don't consider it, but I think you'll see it a lot with Taurus ascendants and Cancer ascendants. Secretly, they kind of have a green thumb.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So that's good. That's really good. So I guess we could talk forever, but I guess we should kind of wrap it up soon.
Yeah. Is there any questions or?
Yeah. Why don't I'll let you look in there and see. I'm sure there's a ton of questions.
Oh, you know what? I left myself a note to tell people this Neptune quote, because earlier you were talking about whenever things get foggy and confusing, and the TV, the tell eye
vision.
Yeah. And
telling you what to see and think and be.
Yes, exactly. So we're going to be having these Neptune interactions because Mercury is opposite to Neptune right now, and part of the turning back direct, it'll be another exact hit. So that will be the third time we've had this Mercury opposite to Neptune, and then
And trining
Neptune is
Pluto.
and then also Neptune is going to be making interactions with Mars during the 7 months that Mars is going to be in Gemini.
Yes, that square. Yeah.
So the thing I wanted to drop in, which has been super helpful for me,
Okay.
is that Carolyn Casey, she's a wonderful teacher and author. She teaches astrology.
Okay.
She has she's amazing. I can't say enough good things about her. One of the things that she said, and she says it in relation to Neptune, is that for you to have, this is totally paraphrased because I haven't heard her say it in a long time, is that to basically, it's like you have to have your own vision, your own dream, your own imagination. You're doing your own dream work. So you're full of your own vision, your own imagination. Now, if you're not, you're lacking attention and presence with your own personal dream and your own personal vision. You're going to be you're looking for it. You're taking it from outside sources. This is why when you were talking about some people can't live without their TV, and the reason is because they don't have their internal vision. They don't have their dream. So they depend upon the outside vision to tell them what to do. If you don't have your internal dream, you get poison.
Yeah.
And what she says is like the homeopathic remedy. So we're taking it from the outside, and it actually becomes toxic to us because it's not our dream. So
go ahead. Because
just
I'm going to add
something
on to
that I
that because
want
that's so
to
perfect.
drop in is just during these Neptune transits, my school is called Awake in the Dream School. My 4 of my best medicines have to do with their sleep remedies. One of them is a lucid dreaming remedy. They're amazing. I have one called Nocturnal Epiphany, and the medicine in those things are meant to help you to really contact in actual sleep, your actual dream, get your nervous system relaxed enough that you can get into REM and then be able to like wake up in the dream, which is basically become lucid in your dream so that you are filled with the information of your own dream. So that when I hear stuff talking, and Eric, you were saying, okay, well, it's going to get really hectic and chaotic with all the illusions and the fake media, the things coming out. And all I can see is because I'm so filled up with my own dream, that when these transits come, I can see people, they're grasping because there's all this information and they want to have it. So they know what to do and what to expect, but they're spiritually completely in famine. They don't have access to their own internal dream, and it's not a safe, to me it doesn't feel like a safe place to live in a body that's void of its own dream.
That's so deep, so poignant, and so real and true. And that's kind of what I was pulling into, is unfortunately the low vibration of Neptune and Pisces. But the key words that you said, your own vision, your own dream, the high vibration of Pisces is creativity, imagination, spirituality, getting into your own music, poetry, writing, dance, boom, boom, boom. And Jupiter can expand that. So it's a great time to write that book. It's a great time to write that screenplay. It's a great time to write that blog, to start your own business. It's a great time to get back to, oh, I always wanted to be, this and that. Well, now it's the time. So that's where you can use this Jupiter retrograde and then ingressing back into Pisces as this, like, I hate to refer to it like this, but like this spiritual Santa Claus, this blessing of these great gifts, because you can heighten your own inner magic and gifts. And so it's so deep because you're right. And I think about television, but when you have your own imagination, creativity, and dreams, you have your own vision for your life. And then Jupiter can come in and just bring the fortunes to it and the expansion. But see, this comes from already putting in that work, already doing, already existing on your highest vibration. And I know most of my people on my channel, they're already doing that, right? But for anyone watching or listening that's not, it's go time. And I've been saying that a lot on my channel. It is go time. And it's been go time for a while. But it's I can only say I beg of you to do the work. And I say it to all my clients, right? We don't have time to play. Get in that Chiron, get in that Pluto, get in the Black Moon Lilith. There are no fears. The biggest fear is when you don't do the work, because then if you don't do the work, the other alternative is, this big bowl of fear, anxiety, stress, regret, right? So don't regret anything. Be intentional and get it done. No excuses, right? Because I hear from so many people, oh, Eric, I can't write this, or I can't do that. I can't. Stop it. Take it out of your vocabulary. When I leave with working with a one-on-one client, my biggest message, I said, if nothing else, forget all the astrology and this and that. Tonight, I want you to retire from negative self-talk. It is no longer your job. Quit that position. Okay? Because we have got to be, and I said, it can sound hokey, it can sound crazy, but anything that we repeat over 10,000 times, it becomes rote memory, goes in the subconscious mind as like the driving ship and pilot. And if you say, I want to wake up happy, and I want to wake up happy, I want to wake up, before you know it, you're going to wake up and you're just like, I'm happy. Every day I'm happy, right? You say, I love myself. I'm great. I'm intelligent. I'm talented. I'm this. And that's what's going to happen, right? As I always say on the negative side, my audience will tell you, they can type it in the chat. Who killed Tupac and Biggie? I love them both. Tupac and Biggie, because you can't speak and rhyme about death 24/7 and don't think it's not going to come and knocking on your door and be like, Mr. Pac, Mr. Notorious, you called me, I'm deaf. You know what I mean? So we have to just really, 2 ears, I've been telling this to my boys lately, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Shh. Receive the knowledge, the wisdom. Speak less, go within. Right? And hit up Anjani for some of those remedies. So give us, as we start to, let's start to wind it down. Give us the, I put it in the description, you guys. Oh, and like always, you guys, please, after this is over, I love everything in the chat, but I want all of you to come after it's posted and comment, right? It helps. Like it, share it, put this on your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Twitter, everything. But also go and subscribe to Anjani's channel, Awaken the Dream School, here on YouTube, right? Build up her subscribers. We're trying to get her to 2K, okay? And build her up. And I thank you, because I'm almost at 3K myself, and I am so blessed, and I appreciate everybody. But do that for us. Share this, comment, follow her, but give them your website, even though it's in the description. Give it to them, and just let them know, how you can send them some of these remedies and things to enhance their spiritual journey and find their vision and their gifts and dreams.
Yeah. Okay. So, this is live, right?
Anjani Siegrist, AnjaniSiegrist.com, right?
Oh my goodness. No, my son came in here and he's like,
I know.
Telling me something. So my herbal medicine
Like,
page.
hey son, everybody say hi to her son. Hey son.
No, he's embarrassed, but
Right.
yeah, so I make a lot of things. I have homemade chocolate. I use cacao, like from Guatemala. And a lot of the medicine that I make is things that I grow. So it's very, very special.
You can watch her growing stuff on I love it, on Venus Gemstone on Instagram.
Yeah, I do share a lot about my unusual agricultural situation.
I couldn't believe that night I caught the live and you had that big store. I was like, what is she doing?
What was it?
You had the big corn. Remember you?
Oh!
I was like, oh my God, Anjani. That thing was like,
It was so tall. I
Oh my
grew
God, we
corn.
have the hugest. Oh my God, my wife is amazing in the garden. She's got the same placements as you with the Pisces Sun and Taurus rising, and so the summer was hard in our gardens because we're in Arizona, but we have been getting these beautiful big zucchinis and these Armenian cucumbers that are so good. Oh my God, do you know how good cucumbers are for you? I was just like researching
So
it the other
good.
day.
Yeah.
Cucumbers are so good for you guys. Oh my God,
Yeah.
they're really good for you. But go ahead. So go back to your herbs and your
Oh,
veggies.
okay. Yeah. I mean, really, just go to my Instagram page because I have that link tree that's going to show you how to get the herbal medicine, how to get to the school. I have some free courses. A lot of stuff on my YouTube channel is grouped together because I do have Saturn Virgo conjunct my North Node. So as you probably heard a lot in this show, I really care a lot about organizing things and putting things together. So you can find yoga classes, breathing, like actual yoga. I lived in India for 2 years and I studied yoga, like not from the Western perspective, but like actually from India. So you
The real
can
deal.
the real deal. There's a lot of free content. So I would say go to Venus Gemstone on Instagram, and it's spelt correctly because I have about 50 imposter accounts by now, but it's
Aw.
Venus Gemstone, just how you spell it, not
Yeah.
two S's, not two V's, not two E's, just the right way. And then you can click on my link tree and open up all sorts of a wonderful, cool. There's like free articles that will help you figure out your rising sign if you don't know your birth time.
Oh,
Whole
good.
bunch of really cool stuff on there.
Oh, I didn't even explore that. That sounds cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's cool because you know if anyway, it's in there. The way
Yeah.
you can figure it out through questioning yourself on some certain topics. So I wanted to answer Irene because she asked a question.
Okay.
She was asking what about she said if you have what did she say? I think she's asking about Moon Lilith conjunction. And
Oh, true
yeah,
black and Lilith conjunct the moon.
yeah, the way that could show up in somebody's life. So I don't know what sign it's in, but either way, it's going to be those Lilith mysteries of needing to create a creating sovereignty for yourself and becoming you need to first of all know know the
And finding
Lilith.
your spiritual family too. Your own family tribe is very important with that conjunction.
Yeah, and also knowing the Lilith story that for Lilith, the part of us, especially for women, to be able to be sovereign, to be able to not negotiate your core values, like no, I'm not going to have, you can't stand in front of me. You can't walk in front of me. You can't, no, there's some things that, whatever it is for you, that
Right.
you don't negotiate your core values. That's part of us owning our inner Lilith.
Yeah.
And you can't also just be a total biatch. Like you can't just totally be out there, like not negotiating ever with anybody. So it's a fine balance with Lilith, especially when you put it with your moon, because moon is going to be your core self, your core emotions, the lineage you come from, your ancestors, your moods. Put that with Lilith, you're going to naturally feel more fierce and more non-negotiable. So your non-negotiables will be a lot around irrational things like your subjective reality, your traumas and 100%, I feel
And
that
about your body and the like the
absolutely.
rules you were talking about and defining, because it's very root chakra and I think of like Moon Saturn, very like ancestral DNA archetypes.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, you're
Yeah.
right. It's heavy. That's a heavy conjunction.
With
That's
Lilith, yeah. And because you
huge.
want to become Lilith in your own way and in the own flavor of the sign and the placement, you want to become that, but you also need to be like mindful of the fact that, because in the story of Lilith, she got sent out to the edge of the sea. So there has a lot to do with
Yeah,
ostracizing.
rejection, being rejected. Yeah.
Yep.
Kicked
And
out of the, yeah.
so you want to find where is your medium. And for me, what I did during a time of a transit to my Lilith was I started going out onto the island of Kauai and going
Well, right
out.
now it's hitting your natal moon and Jupiter.
Who, Lilith?
Yeah, it's in Cancer.
So whenever I was getting to know my Lilith and how to become Lilith in a healthy way for myself, I was going out into nature completely by myself, starting my own fires, sleeping outside alone with a
Wow.
weapon, like I had a blade. But meeting, like, I don't
It's
know
such
why
a
that's so
Pisces.
funny.
That's so good.
I sleep with a machete by my bed.
I was gonna say, I'm just like, this sweet, evolved spiritual woman is just like, yo, I'll shank you with the machete.
I got one in my van. I got a bear knife, like with the handle with the deer all antlers. I
I
got
ain't
the
mad at
machete
you.
by my bed.
I am not mad at you.
I keep those blades with me. But you also, you touch on a point, Lilith in the fourth house. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's very sweet and all this stuff, but like you don't want to mess with me because it can be very dangerous.
No, I was gonna say, and listen, I know your kids better make sure they're acting right, because I know the fourth house. See, people don't really know. This is one of the secrets of Taurus risings, you guys, and I can only imagine with that Lilith there, but they are the regal king and queen when they are in their home, right? They kind of want everyone to kind of like, did you hear what the king said? Did you hear what the queen said? You know what I mean? There is this regalness, and how dare you go against the queen in the home, right? And trust me, I live with it, so it's really funny to me. I just Taurus risings are funny. You guys are dope. But yeah, no, and I can imagine with the Lilith, that's heavy.
Yeah, it's a next level to having Leo in the fourth house. I mean, the way I always described it was my bedroom is actually it is a whole castle, and my most expensive things are in. I sleep on this mat that's like a $2,000 lined with amethyst crystals and like 18 layers of energy
See,
conducting
y'all,
material.
wait, did I call it? I know my astrology.
It's so true. And I'm like, you do not enter this room unless you knock and hear me say, come in.
Yeah.
And then it's weird,
You
like
must
they'll
get the
stand.
and then there's like a red carpet thing.
Absolutely. And then they'll stand there and be like, they won't come, they don't just come to me. You know what I mean? They'll be like, Mom. And it's a definite thing with Leo in the fourth house. It's like you're approaching like royalty for sure.
Oh my God. Oh, that is so. And then I got Aquarius in the fourth house. So I'm just kind of like, can I just do some research?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Well, because it's very interesting, right? So think of it, right? So with the opposite ascendants, right? Everything's reversed. So for me at home with Aquarius, I'm all about the astrology and all about the aliens and all about what's right for the collective. What's, you know what I mean? What's good for everything, but then there's also this, I don't want to say cold detached, because I'm not a cold detached person, but I can sometimes, not thinking of it, I can, and I guess I'm gonna be a truth teller and telling myself I can be completely honest, right? Everybody's family here. I can detach sometimes and go into my work, detach from the kids, my wife, and not in a bad way, but just where I'm not, you know what I mean? Sometimes I'm just so in my realm of working. You know what I mean? I mean, with a Capricorn moon, I'm kind of a workaholic anyway. So, you know what I mean? So it's very fascinating, the difference, the opposing energies.
I often think when somebody has Aquarius in their fourth house, because like you said, it's opposite. So my midheaven is in Aquarius. So I know that for me, the way that I am seen and how I work, like my career has to do, my freaking library is organized into topics, and like, so that's part of what I'm doing is like, I can tell you like, oh yeah, in this year, this planet was doing this thing and that relates to this health concern. And so to switch those out, when I see somebody with Aquarius in their fourth house, I automatically think that for them, because fourth house as a sanctuary, as the place that we go to retreat from the outer world, that there would be this kind of like what I would say weird, and like this person will probably be comfortable in anything. Like they don't need something to be comfortable. It's like they just need to be able to, their mind, to be able to connect with the aliens and cosmic consciousness and get into that meditative state, the meditation you keep talking about. Like I feel like that in the Aquarius in the fourth house really just needs their mind and have access to being able to think and go into time traveling through your mind, either books or doing those meditations that when you lay down, it's like you are now entering, and it's like wow, wow, like that weird, like
Well, it's so funny you say that, because I definitely relate to that, and I don't have any placements there. It's just bare naked.
oh, clear.
But I'll say this: what's so deep about that is, some astrologer was breaking down how each ascendant awakens in the morning, and it's so true for me as a Scorpio rising. Scorpio risings kind of need privacy, supposed to be alone in the morning and quiet, like, because there's this we have the Mars to initiate and like whatever, but it's after we've sort of internally and emotionally initiated with ourselves, then we've got like this pool of energy, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of interesting. Like I really resonated with that when I saw that, and then it makes me think about the Aquarius fourth house, because yeah, I mean, you're right. I definitely, it's very intellectualized, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
but it's funny because I can think back, right? Fourth house, comforts, convenience, your mom, right? And I can remember there were times, even with my older sister and my mom, it was just sometimes the three of us. I can remember, even though I had a ton of friends and all these cousins, I can remember sometimes at home feeling very alone, but I was okay with it because I would always just create these worlds. And that's probably more of the Venus, Jupiter, Neptune on the ascendant. Like, so I was never alone because I, created a sports world or created imaginary this, or, I wrote a murder mystery in like 7th grade. Like, I mean, like, I just, you know what I mean? I've always create. I'm just a creator. You know what I mean? I would collect the baseball cards, but then I would make my own games, and I'd throw the ball off the wall and catch it and then dive to the pillow and pretend like I'm running bases. And then I would put stats on the cards, like home runs. And I had my notebook and I would write everything down. Like, I mean, I was that kid that adults would come to me to learn about sports. Have house parties, and adults are like, and I'm sure, like, now that I'm adult looking at kids, like they must have been like bugged out, like, who in the hell is this kid? How does he know all this? You know what I mean? Like, and I knew the stats of every football, baseball, basketball player, because growing up I played every sport. I was really good at sports and I loved it. So, like, for me, it was just this. But I also realized for me it was a connection to my father, who I lost at 6 years old. He liked sports, and you know what I mean. So it's interesting. But yeah, so all right, so we got the information. You guys know how to find Anjani. We've given you the tools, the medicine, the food, the knowledge, the love, and hopefully some, like KRS-One, my favorite MC, the edutainment, the education and entertainment. Right? You want the balance, you guys. The education's important, and you want a little fun. You need the balance. You don't want just all entertainment. Don't just Netflix and chill 24/7, because you're not feeding your heart, your spirit, and your soul. Okay? You can't just like tune out all 24/7. Not healthy. So I know you got to go. I got to go. We got kids.
Yeah, my kid's over here doing the Elvis pelvis thing, like dancing, like trying to make me laugh and distract me. Irene, I think talk to me on my DM, and I think we're on Instagram together, because she's asking a question and I want to answer this. But
wait, I want to make you laugh. Okay, so I have my each month, and I'd love for you to come sometime. But I have I do astrological coffee talk each month. And so it's like a monthly Zoom meeting, and everybody comes, and we I teach an astrology lesson, but we're also it's building community, right? Very 11th house, and talking astrology and sharing and looking at charts and all this stuff. And so I've been trying to get Danny and a whole bunch of people on here have come, but Irene hasn't come yet. And I always joke with her and try to get her to come, and then she tells me she's shy, right? But then I saw then I after you came on the first or second time, I saw Irene, she was coming to your channel too, and following and subscribing and coming on your lives. Irene is great. And even though I haven't met her, I know she's a spiritual giant, and I think she underestimates herself, right? But I don't know what I'm going to do to get her to come to Coffee Talk.
Hey, let's all three come on. She'll come on.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. I bet if you're willing to come on, I bet Irene would come on too.
That would be fun.
We got to set that up. October 15th, I'm doing my next one. And I mean, it's great. I got people from Sweden, Saudi Arabia, Atlanta, New York, New Jersey, Ohio. I got people from all over the world. And I'm just trying to get Irene to come. And I always, come on, Irene. I got to be silly. So, all right, Irene, no pressure, but I'm going to get Anjani to come. If she's, sometimes she's busy on Saturdays. I don't know, but we'll see. October 15th is my next Coffee Talk. So if we can't get October, we're going to get November. But I know you'll come if Anjani comes. At least I hope so. All right. So you guys, this was fun and amazing. Thank you, my friend. It is always a pleasure. You're always welcome. And just keep doing what you're doing. And I'm going to have to hit you up for some of your plant medicine stuff, because that sounds wonderful.
It's so wonderful.
I can only imagine. I'm like, so good. I'm so like into that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's like so me. Now, I don't even know how to get up out of here. Oh, here we go. Okay. So that's it, you guys. Episode 86 in the mix, and it's done. I'm number one son, Anjani Siegrist. Thank you. Everybody go check out Venus Gemstone and Awakening Dream School, and be safe, be smart. Remember, 2 ears, 1 mouth, and retire from negative self-talk. It's time, you guys. You got to love yourselves. Okay? Be hokey and intentional about the self-love. It's worth it. You're worth it. Okay? Like I say in my videos, and remember, I think you're famous. Because I do, sometimes people, there's something that we've been programmed, Anjani, and I just want everybody to get out of that program and that illusion that we as a collective, everybody thinks that they're so less than. It's like, no, you go get your regal Leo on and shine your light and get your Venus and Leo placement on. You know what I mean? Like that's a fun placement. I don't have it. I'm Venus Scorpio, you're Venus Aquarius, but it's all in that square. But I could just see Venus Geminis and Venus Leos. They have a lot of fun.
A different kind of fun than this.
A different kind of fun. But oh God, I know, right? I gotta watch what I'm saying there, but still, because hey, Venus Aquarius and Venus Scorpios, we have fun too.
Yeah,
we have fun.
Different kind of fun again.
I know. Now I'm even digging a deeper hole. All right, bye, you guys. Just be mindful of this energy and self-love. Okay. Bye.
See y'all soon.
Bye. Kentucky. Oh. Now I hit the wrong button to end it. Yeah, I think I need a little bit of help. All right, you guys, this was so much fun. Thank you. Sorry I didn't get to you in the chat.